Welcome to the Late to Chess podcast. And the doctor is in the house. Hello, doctor.
Hello, hello. I am in the house. Good to
Well,
be here.
we uh we thank we thank you for making house calls for us. And we have our latest edition of the most excellent adventure to 1500 or more sofa
We hope.
edition. Yeah, or we do hope, actually, we do for sure. So doctor, as you already know, but our listeners may not know, I had a over the board tournament this weekend where
Great.
I smashed it around. We had a group of 36 chess enthusiasts, and we played nine different quads, and it was a fun time was had by all.
Well, tell me about how that works. Tell us how that works as far as you have 36, and it's so you're not playing everybody, you're playing this
Yeah.
quads. So it's only about, it's not, I shouldn't say only, but you're trying to win your quad, right?
Yes.
Not,
Yes. Yes. Typically what they do is they break it down into um, what's known as quads, which creatively have four people. Who knew? And then the
do the
four
math.
people, I know, the four people play against each other. Each one will play everybody. And the quads are typically grouped by rating. So you should be fairly close to each other. And with 36 people there, we had nine different quads. And most of them looked like they were fairly tightly rated. There was one that's weird. I haven't figured out why. Maybe, I don't know. But mine was fairly closely rated. I was the third highest rated or the second lowest rated. It's amazing how they mean the same thing.
Right.
And it started in 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think I finished a little before 6. So it was a 40-minute time control with a 5-second delay. For our European listeners, I have no idea why we play a delay and not an increment, but it seems to be the um, most typical time control for USCF that I'm aware of. I have not played any increments live yet, but a delay, it's slightly different in that if you play with an increment, you automatically get the time added to your time. A delay just means that the clock doesn't start until the delay is there. So if you play faster than the delay, your time doesn't go up, it just stays flat. So it's slightly
Ah,
different, but you know, I like increment better, but whatever.
yeah, right, right. So it's like inches versus centimeters,
Yeah.
right?
Or good versus bad, but that's just me. Sorry, that
Yeah.
came out. Whoops. I'm an increment guy, guys. Sorry. Just that's
It's
what
all
I
right.
am.
It's all right. We all have our thing.
We do. That's one of those. One of those. It is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
So, fairly tightly coordinated pack. I think the lowest rated person, the one below me, was like 100, 100, a couple points less than me. And the highest rated person was about 70 points higher than me. So it was about a 200, 225 point gap for our quad. So it was fun.
So I'm curious,
Uh-huh.
when you saw the ratings,
I didn't look
oh,
before the games.
you didn't look before the games.
Nope.
Okay.
It
Okay.
doesn't.
Because,
It's not going to affect how I should play in any way that's positive. So I don't want to know.
right. Right. I think that's good. If you can avoid that, because I think you're playing someone that's really really good, or even with you, or maybe uh, not as skilled as you without the rating. Anyway, I think knowing the rating adds pressure, and
It doesn't help me
um,
do better. So I didn't want to know.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the other thing I thought I was thinking that sometimes when we know it's a higher rated player, yeah, we might play worse, but a lot of times we play better.
True. True.
Yeah, we try, and then we're lower. I just keep reading things about how someone lost to someone who is rated a lot lower, and the psychology is, they thought they were going to have an easier time of it.
I never think I'm going to have an easier time. Remember the last tournament I went to, I was playing guys that were around 2000.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't either.
So
It's
I try to do my best. like a Cub Scout. I try to do my best to do my duty. To sorry.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I still remember that, but whatever.
Right.
So ended up playing 3 games through the day and had a really good time. It was refreshing because we talked after the last tournament. Um, I get a lot out of playing my 2000-ish opponents, but I don't really have a good chance at winning. But this being much closer, it was much more fun. I had a good time.
Mhm. So what'd you play first? What, white, black?
So my first game, I was playing the number one seed, I guess, the highest player. Um, oh, well, just in case, let's go back. So you
Sure,
got these
sure.
quads, right?
Right.
Which is groups of fours, and the fours are broken up, and then you got different levels. Then the other way that I know of, and there may be more chess tournament designs, but the other way I know is Swiss tournament, where they take everybody ranked by rating. Let's say there's 50, and they sort them highest to lowest. And then one will play 26, and two will play 27. And then the next round, you start playing the winners play against the winners, and the draws play against the draws, and the losers play against the losers. So your first round, if it's 1 versus 26, you're probably not going to win. But the rest of the game should be closer. You should be playing
Right.
people who are doing about as well as you, and have eventually it sorts itself out. So that's the other way I know of that chess tournaments are held. So that's called a Swiss, and then there's the quad, which we went over. So sorry.
It would be neat if it was a 2 day tournament where you did one day you did the quads.
Hmm.
And so let's say there's 9 quads, and then the next day the nine
The nine
winners of the
ones.
quad
Yeah.
play like another, I guess, mini tournament or
Yeah.
whatever
Could.
for a few
Could.
rounds.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of neat to see how that would work out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We're going to do a couple tournaments this year. I think I've talked you into it because you're just as good at making bad decisions as I am. So it sounds
Yeah,
like we're going to play some bigger tournaments that will have like multiple hundreds of people. So
yeah.
it should be fun. But we'll see. Maybe
Can't,
there's
can't.
more tournament designs. Who knows? I don't know. Those are the two I know of.
Mhm.
Okay. So first game, I play black. I'm playing against the highest um, elo person in my section at this point. And he starts off with 1E4. So I play my little Sicilian accelerated dragon. However, he is very aggressive and very insta move. He's probably, I would guess, he's late teens, early 20s. Um, nice. Everybody was nice that I played with. So nice guy. And he just basically insta moved me for, I don't know, 20 moves, something like that. And very aggressive, takes everything, seemed to be quite tactical, seemed to play, if he could take a piece, he takes a piece. If he could get a fork, he gets a fork. If, anything to clean the board up. And that's kind of good for me because I like open boards, as we know. And, the board, when there's nothing on the board, it can't be more open. So I think eventually we maneuvered around to where we got to a fairly complicated rook queen swapping issue. And I
Yeah,
think I didn't calculate it out quite right. And it ended up coming down. I think it worked out to be I was down a pawn, and then it turned out that I was uh, down the exchange. So I was down like 3 by the end of this exchange. And then I was able to uh, get a tactic, get everything down to where the end game came with no rooks on the board, but I was able to get a tactic together where I was able to take. He left his rook open for me, so I went into the end game. He had a bunch of pawns, and I had a knight and a rook, and he had a knight and a rook, and I was able to get some of the pawns off the board, but I wasn't able to get all the pawns off the board. And eventually, it got to the point where I had managed to lock up his 3 pawns, the rook, and the knight with my 2 pawns and knight. So he couldn't move any of. Oh, sorry, with my rook, and he couldn't move any of his other pieces So I had a rook versus three pawns, but then he was able to get his king out across to it, and eventually he just kind of whittled me down. I almost had a shot at a fork, but he didn't let me do it because I almost had a shot where I could get his rook off with my knight. Didn't happen. He was, like I said, he was pretty good tactically, and eventually he won an end game on that one. It was close, but it wasn't. I think I got down one pawn towards the end there, and then it became go for stalemate. I know you're familiar with me doing that, and so that game took me. Let's see, it was a 40-minute game. I think it took me almost 2 hours. Um,
Wow.
so like hour 40, hour 45, something like that. So ended up being, let me just click, 69 moves before I resigned. I probably could have made it last for another 15 moves because that's how I roll. However, the other game on my quad was done, so I didn't feel like, he had it easily. He had two pawns and two pieces. I had a king and a pawn.
Right.
And he had corralled my king to the side of the board, and he had a free pawn to push, so he was going to become a queen, and I couldn't get to it, so I resigned. I know you're shocked that I resigned. I don't resign, but it was quite apparent he knew what he was doing, so I wasn't gonna be able to pull anything out on him. So that was it. Lost my first game. Bummer.
Do you think so yeah, you played 50, 60 moves and
69,
you
dude.
played 69,
The
69
most
moves, sorry,
excellent
69
adventure
moves.
to 1500. You mess up a 69. 69's thematic, man.
I hear you. I hear you. 69 moves. And I guess I'm wondering, like I played through your game. You sent it to me after, and I played through it. And even though sometimes we continue to play, and we have a long game, the question that I've been thinking about for me is, when did I really lose it? Like I think you
Hmm.
game on move 20 and still make it to move 40.
Yeah, I probably lost
Or
it
is
somewhere
that
in the 20s. I haven't gone through the annotation yet, so I don't know the
yeah,
game in intricate detail besides just memory. I would say it's probably in between, I would say after move 20, maybe before move 35, somewhere in there. I probably made the error and I lost I probably shouldn't have gotten the rooks off the board. I should have fought more to keep them because I think I could have beaten him in the end game if we came out even, but we didn't come out even. So I
right,
even with that, I was able to get a piece of his off the board and like four of his pawns off the board, and he had six
right.
and I had three. So if we were even, I think I had a shot. I'm not saying I would have won, but I would have had a shot. I didn't really have a shot, but I just wanted to make it painful, and that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, I think that's right, and I think when you look back, I think you'll see at least some of what I saw
Yeah,
that the rooks really is where it became because I think if you had those rooks longer,
yeah,
that you definitely would have ended up better at the end with more uh, material.
yeah. He was one of
It's,
those
it's
guys that's better than me. I think if you said, "Is he better?" I would say he's better, but I
mhm,
don't think
mhm.
he's better enough that I can't win.
Right, right.
So it was fun
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Good. All right, game round two.
Round two. I'm playing the number two seed. We are not having a good draw here. Well, of course, there's only
It
three
is.
people to choose from, but whatever. So I start at the top. So on this one, rather funnily, his name is close to Seth Meyers.
Yeah, I saw that.
So when I was entering it, I messed up and I wrote Seth Meyers. I was playing Seth Meyers. Who knew? I was on the Late Show. So I'd rather be on Saturday Night Live, but that's a different story. So I,
Yes.
I played one E4, and if I thought the first opponent was instant moving, whew, man, this guy. Oh, by the way, on my first game, keeping everything nice and happy. My chess dojo time 2266.
Ho, ho,
That's
ho.
right. That's right. I still came
Watch
out a
out.
rabbit though, which is weird. 2266 rabbit.
Yeah, I don't get it. I know Jesse's explained it to us, our dojo sensei, several times, but I still don't understand why. sometimes you're a rabbit and sometimes you're not.
I don't know.
You're a
I think
turtle. I
it's
don't know.
I think the rabbit is whether you're above or below the ideal line.
I guess, yeah.
But I didn't understand when he said that, you went slower than the opponent. You both came out turtles, but they scored higher. And I'm like, but I'm lower. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's fine. All right, so game two. Uh I'm playing white pieces. My
Mm.
opponent is blazingly fast, and we end up getting into a scotch, which uh
Right up your alley,
is good for me, right?
right?
So one of the reasons I played faster than I normally would have was everything he did is kind of like what I wanted. And I kept looking at the game going, you don't play scotches very often, do you? So he's just like giving pieces away. I'm like, okay, I'll take your pieces or your pawns or whatever. And it was just like he would threaten something, it would force me to develop. I'd develop, then he'd go do something else, and then he'd end up doing trades. He's like, "Hey, would you like my knight for your bishop?" I'm like, "Well, yes, I would." And all my favorite. It was like I went to an ice cream store, and all they had were my favorite flavors and my favorite toppings. And they said, "Hey, you're a good-looking guy. You can have as much as you want. Pull up a chair. Have a nice day." And I said, "Yes, I will." So I really didn't need to think except for a few times. I tried to keep everything slow. I had a few tanks where I went for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time, which I swear I could hear his foot tapping underneath the table.
No.
Like, we got stuff to do. I'm like, okay, Thumper, settle down, Sparky. And I think he played two moves in the entire game, maybe three, where he took more than 40 seconds in the
Wow.
entire game.
Wow. Hmm.
Uh, so I ended the game, you know, relatively inconsequentially. He got to where it was, uh, I think it was a rook and four pawns for me, and he had a king and three pawns.
Hmm.
I'm not going to lose that. There's just, it's just no way. But he wanted to keep playing, so we kept playing, and eventually I got to the point where I eliminated some of his pawns. I isolated his king, and I had, you know, everything I ever wanted. I had a queen. I had two extra pawns in case I wanted to go do what you do and have no spine and go get multiple queens, or I can mate like a big boy and just use my queen and my king. You know, see
Right.
how, see
Right.
how, see how I get a shot in on you, even though
I know, but but it's like you said, if it's the truth,
it is pain.
yeah, it's the truth.
So 52 moves.
Wow.
Uh, Came in, like I said, he really didn't make me think. So, we were behind
Mhm.
the other board. So I just said, I know what to do here. And, I'm not saying I know a book, but I've played that opening 30, 40 times.
Right.
So, I'm not dumb. I know what I'm supposed to do. And I ended up, beating him fairly easily in 52 moves. So 1-1. I'm at 50-50. Life is good.
One more to go.
One more to go. And I've played number one, and I've played number two, and I'm number three. So,
Right.
so on this game, I end up playing probably my youngest opponent. I would guess early teens. I don't know. I'm horrible at this. I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see
me
somebody
too.
who's 25 years old, and I'm like, "Are you seven?" But I
Right.
don't think it was
Right.
quite that bad. But I would guess early teens. Not fully grown yet. That's why I'm guessing early teens. So on this one, I am black. And dun dun dun, he plays D4.
Mm,
Not my happy moment.
no.
I don't like playing against D4. However, I sat there I sat there on move one, and I took 26 seconds. Because
Wow.
I'm like, what do I do against D4? So in my mind, I'm like, do I do the stone wall and be a pain to you? Like, I don't, oh, it wasn't you, but you hate the Stonewall when I do it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
do I do the King's Indian? And it took me 25 seconds to figure out. I'll do the King's Indian.
Okay.
So I did.
Okay.
He played Queen's Gambit. I declined. So I declined with 2d6. I think that's right. And then he just started bringing out pieces, but he only brought out one piece for a
Huh.
while. No, no, actually, he developed okay. But he started doing like your favorite maneuver, which is, hey, I can move my bishop so many times. And I was like, okay, keep moving. So I just
Mhm.
developed as fast as I could, castled as fast as I could. I did my little knight move to the edge of the board to get his bishop off the board because it was locked.
Mhm.
And he gave me his bishop, and I was like, thank you very much. So now I've got the bishop pair, which when you're better should matter. I think it's
Right.
equivalent to half a pawn. We're
Right.
not
Right.
better, but for some reason I'm really good with my bishops, I think. So I use it as a tool, and I like to bludgeon people. It's kind of fun. And never really in doubt this game. It was like, how do I kill thee? Let me, grind you down. I did a queen trade in the middle of the board, like 15 moves in or so.
I saw that.
It was just like I'm looking at his pieces, going, you can't mate me with what you have.
Right.
I've got two bishops and a rook, and you've got one knight and two bishops. I'm sorry, you've got two rooks and a knight, and I have two bishops and a rook. You can't mate me. There's no way. And then eventually he was susceptible to tactics like forks. He fell into forks so many times. Now he was very creative in the way he got out of the forks, in that he would come up with a way that it would be a double attack, that he could attack something else that I don't want to give up. So I'd relinquish the fork to save my
Right.
own piece. But
Yeah.
eventually he got into too many. I took a rook of his later, then I took another rook. So it ended up being a bishop versus a knight, and he had six pawns and I had six pawns, and I'm going to win that game, especially when I can take your knight. So then it was just a matter of time, and then I just kind of squished him because I had a pass pawn that he couldn't stop, and he resigned. He resigned in like 32 moves. I think I would have mated him in another four.
Okay.
So Bill, two and one loss. So one of my best tournaments. I actually won my level. Who knew?
Who
I,
knew?
I gained almost 30 elo, 30 precious little elos. It's a lot of
That's
elos
amazing.
for me.
That is amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. Did you do any postmortem stuff with
I,
any of them?
I find that the younger crowd not really into postmortems,
Right.
and I don't know if it's proper chess can't talk. I don't know if it's proper chess etiquette that I always let the higher rated person offer. So on the one game where I was higher, I asked if he wanted to, and he had to leave. So no. And on the other two, they didn't offer, so I didn't say anything.
Okay.
So I don't know. And then one of the nice things, and I think you enjoyed it a little bit. I have the chess noter, which we haven't done an episode on yet, but basically it's an electronic way of keeping score. So
Right.
we can't screw it up. But the nice thing is, in between rounds, you can email the PGN or the PDF, whichever one you want, to yourself. And then I just, I knew you were sitting there, looking to scratch a little bit of a chess itch. So I kept emailing them to you after each game. And
Yeah.
I think you've done more postmortems on these games than I have. So
Well, I did. I have to say, I really, I know we do it with Masters games and like the Logical Chess book by Turing. We go through other people's games, and we and do it in review. But I really enjoyed playing through your game on my chessboard
hmm
and going playing the moves and because um, I really saw where it went well or where it went south. Because
so
I'm
you got
not
the double
invested.
question marks inside your head.
Right. And exclamation points, because I mean, it wasn't my game. So it's like I'm playing it, but I'm looking at it from the on the outside. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was fun.
What so not having seen everything to the depths that I have, allow me to invite you. Um, what did you see? What do you think I need to work on?
I think you had
The
this
first game?
question, and the first game, yeah, for sure. The other two you had well in hand,
Yeah,
but
those were
you had a question, and in a review. I'm not sure if it was with Jesse or if it was in our like pre peer cohort review about when to trade.
right.
When there's an imbalance. And I think, because I think you have the other stuff, right? You got the opening, you have the end game, you have, what do you call it? Tactics. But I think the, that rook exchange just really surprised me. And I thought, oh, why then?
Yeah,
Why then? And I think that's the thing that I would say is definitely for me too. But for you is, when is the exchange worth it?
right.
And the other thing I'd say is, and even while in the midst of it, it was like, and it's funny when you play on the computer online, it seems like it's so quick. It's like you hear
Yeah.
that click noise too. But that's how I felt with those. Only because I think once you didn't have to you didn't have to keep going with it. That's the other thing I
Yeah, I
thought.
could have pulled the
I think
plug. Yeah.
you could have pulled the point and said, no, 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 I want to keep that. Okay, that's a mistake. But I'm not either. I'm only one down, or even.
Right.
Um, but I think sometimes in our heads we're like, oh well, in for a dime, in for a dollar, right?
Not a good
Um,
plan, by the way, for those playing the
no,
home game.
no. So I think that's really the other game where the usual bill, right? You're doing all the good stuff and you crush the tar out of anybody that has the nerve to go to an end game with you.
Come with me.
Uh, yeah, just trade down, see what happens, sucker. So, so that's for sure. But that first game, that's what I took. It was a really great game to play through. I wish I could have seen it live, but I would say not only when to trade, but being able to pull the plug from it.
Hmm.
Right. It's like one game I had and we talked about this where the my opponent, this was his plan. He was going to go with the plan, even though it didn't really work out.
Hmm.
Right. And he knew that. I mean, afterwards he talked about that, but he did it anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sometimes best to have a plan, and sometimes it's best to know when the plan doesn't work and get out of it as best as you can.
right, right.
Yeah.
Because even with that, you still had a shot, whether he was
Yeah.
always going to win or not. You still had playing
Yeah.
a really good game. But I think
Yeah.
that's why I asked earlier. I mean, I think that's where you, to be quite honest, that's where you lost it, was
Yeah.
that exchange.
I almost got back, but I didn't. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
close. I had a
So
good time though.
which says to me, what if you didn't do that?
Yeah. Well, then
Yeah,
I'd have so many elo, I'd have to spend them on somebody.
that's right. You'd have to give poor old Dr. Pop maybe five elo points.
No problem. I'm a giver.
I know, yeah, I know.
That's not a problem. So,
Can you tell us where it was and the
oh
name of the
sure.
club? It's a little free advertisement.
It was with Myerstown Chess Club. They play the first Myerstown, Pennsylvania. They play the first Sunday of every month, and then they have occasional tournaments on other days. And Mike runs a great event out there, and had a great time being out there. I'm going to try to get out there as much as I can this year. Coincidentally, the first weekend of the month is usually birthdays or anniversaries in the Fisher household. So unless I get a lot of leniency from my beautiful bride, I won't be able to hit all 12 of them, but I'd like to hit them all because it's nice to play the high rated players and learn, but it's also nice to play your peers
Mhm.
and see where you are relative. Like
Right.
I didn't feel like I didn't belong in the first game, even though I lost it, and I felt like I had the other two kind of handled. Um, so you know, everybody says there's no luck in chess, but if because you can see everything, you can see all the board, you can see all the pieces. There's nothing hidden there. There's no random chance to it, but there is a little bit of luck if you play an opponent that is susceptible to the opening that you're going to use, or plays into a line that you know and they don't, or let you play a line that they don't know. There's luck there. Like there's certain people that I know if I play them with black, I will crush them, and if I play them with white, it's 50-50. Um, so there is a little bit of luck is which color you are. That's why when we do um, the team, we have a review team that we work together. When we do the round robins, I have it specifically set that you play each person twice, once with each color, because I think that's more fair.
Mhm.
So
I think there's luck in, I've been thinking about this as one of the questions I've been thinking in my head about chess.
there you go, thinking
That
again.
I know that's problematic. Where, we're always talking about candidate moves, which is just a fancy way of saying what are the possible moves I can make. That's all it is. And what are the best ones, the better ones, the good ones, whatever. And I think this is where the luck might have something to do with it. You have three good moves, and they're three good moves, but they're three different moves that will create three different plans,
Mm-hmm.
even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or directions. I don't even know if I want to say plans. And a lot of it also is luck. With the luck comes from is what your opponent is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as you can see, because he or she has three, four candidate moves as well.
Hopefully, yeah,
Right,
if they're playing well.
right. Yeah, and you have to you're okay. What are the odds? Which to me, when anytime you use the word odds and things like that, that's luck.
Mm-hmm.
That this opponent is going to play this move, and I take that chance. Say, I think that my opponent's going to do this. Out of these three moves, going to do this. Well, that's luck. That's not really skill, especially if you've never. It's not like we're in some. I'm playing 10 games against this opponent, right?
Right. Right.
So if I don't know him, so I think there's a latch, and anybody who wants to disagree and explain it to me, that's all ears. I
Late to
think,
chess at gmail.com.
yeah, please help me out. But I think that's also luck. It's not only skill, knowledge, talent, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's I could, because that's still a good move.
Yeah.
Let's say I made, oh yeah, that's one of the three. That was a good one. It might even be the best move, but I'm making a calculation about what my opponent's going to do, and my opponent might say, "Well, this is my best move," and next thing you know, you're like, "Oh,
Oh.
oof," as
Oopa.
Homer Simpson used to say, "Oof."
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah. I mean, we played a game recently. I don't remember if it was our last game or the game before, where you had me dead, like dead, dead, dead. Like one move. It was made in one. And I saw a move, which I did with my knight, that forked your queen and your rook.
yeah,
And it didn't affect whether you could mate me. It didn't affect that at all. But I was hoping I could distract you with this move and get you to react to it and save your queen, even though your queen was the thing that was going to mate me. And you, a few weeks ago, would have fallen for it
yeah,
through luck, not through skill. But this
right.
week, you just said, no, I don't care. I'm still mating
Which
you. You're going
which
home
is
loser.
which is funny because, and in that sense, luck or lack of it taught me that lesson. Right, slow down. Don't. And I heard it today in our review a little. This kind of which we, as our sensei Jesse Christ said, we all do have done this. There's these panic moves,
Yep.
right? Even that you
Reflex
like
moves. Yeah.
reflex move where you just don't think. And that's again where his the genius of him telling us to slow down, because it's because I'm slowing down, and yeah, I have to work on how slow so I don't a panic with running out of time, which is an issue I have. But because I'm slowing down, I'm like, well, okay, if you do, I can do. Well, I'm going to do this. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. But that takes one losing your night.
Yeah.
Or you're working a few times. Okay, I'm not. Come on, I can't fall for this again. I have the answer, so don't get distracted.
Yeah.
But that's not easy.
No, it's not. But it's another aspect of luck, right?
Right.
Sometimes you get away with these. Like in my third game, there's one point where I played into a fork. I didn't see it, but then I saw it. But my opponent didn't see it. And to me, that's a little bit of luck. He didn't see it,
Right. Right.
because if he saw it, then I would have had a much harder game. I still would have won, I think.
Right.
But
Yeah.
instead of it just being a smash, it would have been, okay, now I got to really try.
Well, and the thing is, somebody can say, well, that's just, you got to practice your board vision. Well, even at practicing your board vision, you know, grandmasters miss things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's luck, right? If anybody shouldn't miss anything,
Yeah. They should never hang a piece. They should never miss a fork opportunity or a tactical opportunity, especially when it's like I didn't put my pieces into the fork, but I put my pieces into, it was a little weird. It was a crowded position. It was a little weird night fork that he just didn't see.
right,
And I was like, woohoo, I got lucky,
right,
which by
right,
definition would be luck. Hmm. Anyway,
right.
so when's your next
Well,
tournament? You got one coming up.
I got one on the 17th. It's the Mountaineer Open at in Morgantown, West Virginia.
2 weeks until the next sofa time.
2 weeks. I've been practicing every day,
Every
twice
day.
a day,
Yep.
twice a day, um, in playing games and going over some old games. So we'll see.
Good.
We'll see. It's funny though. It's technology is the killer for me. What am I worried about? Am I worried about playing high rated to losing the lower rated players? No. I'm hoping that I can remember how to use my digital clock.
You'll be fine. If you can tell me what the time structure is before you go, I will have it programmed for you before you leave.
Yeah,
We will
good.
do it. We will have a Zoom meeting just for you to program your clock, you goofball.
I'll be like in the corner, like, what's he doing? Is he studying openings on his laptop? No, no. Bill's
Just
helping me with my clock.
just setting up clock.
Yeah, crazy.
I know. The only one you can set has a pendulum.
I know, right? And that's troublesome too, my friend.
All right. So latest episode of the most amazing adventure to 1500 and beyond.
And beyond, we hope.
We hope. We hope to get 1500, really. I mean,
With,
honestly,
with a, right, with a little luck.
with a little luck. Very nice. Oh, that was a callback in the biz. Nicely done, sir.